solar cookers and all the like scientific advancements happening with solar cooking. We also do a lot of community events to teach people who don't have money for fuel on how they can use solar cooking. So yeah, we do a little bit of everything basically. So me as the program assistant, I do a lot of event coordination, social media management, and I also work with our programs over in Africa for writing reports and just trying to help them in their programs.
Cool, and talking to students.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, cool. Well, we have tons of questions. They came up with at least like 30 yesterday, so I guess we'll jump right into it. So,
Great.
John, you want to get started?
Does the size of the solar cooker increase the power of the solar cooker?
You know, not necessarily. It kind of depends on the kind of solar cooker that you're using. The key thing is making sure that you're putting out your solar cooker during the optimum times during the day. So anytime between 9 to 1 when the sun is the brightest, that's the best for getting heat and making sure your solar cooker works. So yeah, it just kind of depends on the solar cooker that you're using. And also making sure it's not a cloudy day, because obviously if it's a cloudy day, your solar cooker is not going to really work.
What is the most popular solar cooker you guys send places?
So that's a bit of a tricky question because I think it kind of depends on who you're asking. So we have a very popular solar cooker called the Cook It. It's basically a panel solar cooker that's made out of cardboard and a reflective material. It's really popular because it's pretty much the cheapest solar cooker that you can get. It's super portable and a lot of people like to use it when they go camping. Also, that's the solar cooker that we send abroad to countries like Africa because it's so cheap to send over there and it's also really easy to use. And as you can imagine, when people use more expensive materials for their solar cookers in low-income countries, a lot of times people will steal their solar cookers just for parts. Like for example, if it's made out of a metal, someone will just come and steal it because they need that. So our Cook It has been the most popular just in every type of scenario.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any specific countries or areas that you plan to send solar cookers to in the near future?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so right now we're working in Africa. We have 2 programs in Kenya specifically. We also work in Nepal. Other than that, we do mostly focus on the global south, so where it's more sunny, just because that way the technology is more helpful for people year-round. But we're always working with programs in places like Haiti and other countries like that. So, you know, maybe in a year from now we'll be working in a new country. Who knows?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So like, what kind of solar cookers do you use or make most often?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I had a hard time hearing it.
Okay, what kind of solar cookers do you use or make more often?
So I heard, what type of solar cookers do we use for what?
Use or make most often?
Oh, the most often? Definitely the panel solar cooker is the one that people tend to make the most often just because it's the easiest to make.
Thanks. Excuse me, are you guys concerned at all about the Ebola virus in Africa?
So we are definitely concerned just because, of course, it's just such a scary disease. Right now our 2 projects are in Kenya, so luckily that's one area that hasn't been affected by the Ebola virus yet, but a sad reality is that Africa gets hit by these types of viruses very often. One of our projects in Kenya works with people who have been affected by the HIV virus. So it's nothing that we're not used to, but of course, because the Ebola virus is so easily transferable, we don't want like our local project partners potentially getting sick. So if the Ebola virus comes to Kenya, we might decrease just local contact, but it's something that we're definitely used to having to work with. So our local project partners would probably find a way around it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Be brave. I know you guys said like 30
Yeah.
yesterday, so go ahead, jump in. Go for it, John.
Why was Solar Cooker International started? Like, what was the
That's a good question. So basically, it was started in the 80s, and it was started by a small group of people who saw a big need for a sustainable technology, especially one that really doesn't cost anything. It's basically free as long as you know how to make a solar cooker, and really all you need to have a solar cooker is a cardboard box and aluminum foil, and basically that's a really easy solar cooker that you can make. So these people really wanted to have this information spread worldwide. A lot of them had visited countries like Africa, and they saw that a lot of the times, you know, women are being exposed to danger, having to go really far, like firewood, for their indoor fires. And that brings me to another point. You know, it's very dangerous to cook with fires indoors because that creates indoor air pollution, and that has led to lung cancer and asthma, as well as very severe burns in women and children who end up being the ones who have to, you know, cook around the fire and stay at home because their families need someone to collect firewood so that they have food to eat. So it's a technology that has a lot of different benefits, not just the fact that it's good for the environment and it helps save fuel.
What's the best way to maximize the heat?
So one thing that really is important is making sure you put your food in a dark pot. As I'm sure you guys probably know, dark colors absorb heat better. So if you have a black pot, that's perfect. If you have any type of pot and you just paint the outside black, that works as well. So I would say that's the number one thing, making sure you're cooking in a dark pot. Then of course, as I mentioned previously, putting it out anytime between 9 to 1 and making sure that your solar cooker faces the sun properly, because sometimes when people put their solar cooker out at like 9 a.m., then it's outside and in a sunny spot, but then the sun moves and then all of a sudden your solar cooker is in the shade, and then you're no longer getting any access to the sunlight. So just making sure you're aware of where your solar cooker is located and that it's kind of tracking the sunlight is really important.
How many solar cookers do you make per year?
Was that a question? Because I didn't hear it properly.
How many solar cookers do y'all make per year?
So that's a very good question. So we don't personally make any of the solar cookers just because we don't have the staff resources for that, but we do work with a paper company, and the way that it works is that we'll order around like a couple thousand, and then they go and make them, and then once we run out of stock, we reorder them again. So I believe the last time we ran out of 2,000 was, it took around 2 years. So every 2 years we make around 2,000 with our paper company, but we also have the plans on our website for free on how to make a cook-it, because we want everyone to have access to making a cook-it even if they can't afford to buy one. So we don't really have a way to track the exact amount of solar cookers that get created from our plans or that we make, but it's definitely in the thousands.
What's the easiest and most nutritious food to cook?
That's a good one. Well, I really like to make cookies, but obviously that's not that nutritious, but it is super easy to make. A lot of people just like to make rice and chicken because it's super easy and you just put it in the pot and then leave it outside in the sun. I think it's honestly up to you, like whatever you want to cook and you would like to learn how to make, you should go ahead and do it. But of course, I guess the smart thing to say would be vegetables, because vegetables are always very healthy.
If the sun is out but it's cold outside, will that affect your solar cooker?
It might slightly affect the solar cooker, but actually a lot of people cook outside in the snow. And actually we have a lot of videos on that are really kind of fun to watch. It's especially very easy to cook out when it's cold in a parabolic, just because it's so strong and gathers the sunlight so easily. So we even have videos of people like frying eggs on their parabolic cooker outdoors in the winter time with the snow. So yeah.
What temperature does a cooker need to be to cook rice?
To cook rice? That's a good question. It would definitely have to be in the 200 degrees area. Again, it depends on your solar cooker. We usually just use our basic panel cooker, the Cook It, and if we leave it out for like 2 or 3 hours, it'll be ready. So I would definitely say in like 220 degrees would be probably ideal to cook rice.
Okay. What is the production cost of a Cook It solar cooker?
So for the Cook Its, we just recently switched paper companies, so their production costs have increased. It's about $30, and then since we're a nonprofit, we're not trying to make a profit off these cookers. We just want to, get the word out there. So we just sell it for a couple dollars more, and then that money partially goes to our programs in Africa. So basically, anyone who buys a Cook It, not only are they learning how to solar cook, but they're also supporting people in Africa and getting access to solar cookers for them as well.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the food Iro? It's a food native to Africa.
No, I haven't. What is that?
It's made up of like rice and beans.
Oh wow. Nice. That sounds pretty good. I'm sure we have some people over there that probably make it a lot. I'll have to look into that and maybe send some information about it.
Thank you.
How do you make up the money that you use to buy the solar cookers if you're nonprofit?
So most of our funding comes from grants with big associations like the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves. They've been a very supportive funder for us, and of course donations from local people or anyone who wants to donate to our nonprofit. We also have events where we try to raise money for solar cooking, and just like with any nonprofit, mostly donations basically.
How do you volunteer if we're not in California? Because we're not.
So I would say what you guys are already doing right now is kind of a great way to technically volunteer for us. One of our biggest things is just spreading the word about solar cooking. Unfortunately, a lot of people still think that it doesn't even work, so it's really sad that they're not being exposed to this technology. So, what you guys are doing in your class is super awesome, and it seems like you guys are really learning a lot, and I'm really impressed that, there's like hybrid cookers being made and parabolics and whatnot. So I would say what you're already doing is a really great form of volunteering. Just letting your friends and family know about solar cooking is great. We do have some information on our website about how students and teachers can, incorporate it into their curriculum or get more involved. I know we had a school where they actually had a solar cooking bake-off sale, and they raised money and sent it over to Africa. So really, it's whatever you guys want to do, and I think you're already doing a really great job. So props to you.
How did you figure out which design was the best?
So I am just the program assistant, so it wasn't really my decision. I think a lot of work went into it, back in the 80s and the 90s, just figuring out what type of solar cooking, I guess, plan would be easiest to make for the most amount of people. And I think it was just discovered that the Cook It was the best in terms of getting the good amount of sunlight and in terms of ease is just because a lot of people, when you tell them, oh, doing a solar cook, and then you show them like a parabolic, they get really scared. So we just wanted it to be something that was really easy and that anyone could use. So that's why we decided on the Cook It.
Which material is best for a parabolic cooker? For, like,
What is the best what?
material to use for a parabolic cooker?
Like the reflective.
That's a very good question. I know a lot of people will actually use like their old satellite dishes. Just any type of metal will work basically. So it's kind of within what's safe for you. And if your parents, want to let you use an old satellite dish, that's great. Or if you have access to the types of metals that you need to make a parabolic material type of shape, and that's great. But definitely I would say just be careful because you don't want to end up hurting yourself. And actually a lot of people have burned themselves or kind of like blinded themselves trying to make a parabolic. So definitely be careful, but I'm sure you're in good hands with your teacher. Yeah.
It's more like the closet Toys R Us.
Pardon?
He's just talking to himself.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, I gotta run, but it was so great to chat with you. If you have any other questions, feel free to just email us. And I hope you have a lot of fun with your solar cookers and make some really great food.
Thank you.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.